Hello, dear friends. Welcome to the first session of the BSc First Electronics. As I already introduced myself to you, myself Dr. Neha Srinivas Joshi, and I am working in the electronics department since from last 11 years. Okay, so we are going to start with your syllabus, but before going to the syllabus, some basic concepts have to be clear. Okay, so already I have studied these concepts in your 12th standard or in your school time, but still we are going to repeat all these concepts, and then we are going to start with the actual syllabus. So as I have told you that I am going to start with the semiconductor devices, right? So before going to the semiconductor devices, we should know about the different status of the material which are existing in the nature. Okay, so all you know that basically there are three types of materials, that is solid state materials, gaseous state materials and liquid state materials, right? And all you know that each and every material which is existing on the earth is made up of the smallest part, and that smallest part is known as an atom, right? The smallest part is known as an atom. So before starting with the semiconductor material or the theory regarding to the semiconductor material, we must know about the atomic structure. Okay, so here, as per the theory put forth by the Niels Bohr, we are going to study the atomic structure which is given by or which is described by Niels Bohr. Okay, so as we know that each and every material is made up of an atom, so we should know the structure of an atom. So what we know about that, the atom is consisting the nucleus at the center, right? The atom is consisting of nucleus at the center, and inside this nucleus there are positive charged particles which are called as what? Protons. These are called as what? Protons. As well as it is also consisting of some another particles which are known as what? Neutrons. So neutron are not carrying any type of charge. They are neither positive or not negative, right? So these are neutral in nature. So according to Niels Bohr's theory, around this nucleus there are certain orbits. So these orbits are nothing but the certain energy levels, right? So certain energy levels are there around this orbit. Okay, and in these certain energy levels the other particles are moving around the nucleus, and those particles are called as what? Those particles are called as what? Electrons. Okay, those particles are called as what? Electrons. Fine. So according to the Niels Bohr's theory, what is the atomic structure? In case of atom, there is a nucleus at the center. This nucleus is consisting of two types of particles. The first type is known as protons, which is positively charged, and the another type is called as neutron, which does not carry any type of charge. So they are neutral in nature. Now around this nucleus some other particles are revolving, which are called here as electrons. So these electrons are carrying negative charge. Okay, so these electrons are carrying what? Negative charge, and these electrons are moving around this nucleus in certain or in specific energy levels. Okay, so suppose this is the first energy level, and then we can call this energy level with having some energy. So here we can call the energy of this level as E1. This is second energy level, so we call it as E2, and this is the third energy level, so we can call it as E3. So various energy levels are there around the nucleus, and though in those energy levels or those are also called as orbits, the negative charge particles are revolving around the nucleus, right? These are revolving around the nucleus. So these negative charge particles are called as what? Electrons. Okay. Now another point you should remember here that, so suppose we are going to take example of first energy level or first orbit, here we are going to call it as. So in this first orbit you will find the electrons which are carrying negative charge, right? So these each electron will be having its own energy and that will be equal to E1. So in which orbit they are moving, the same energy will be possessed with the electrons. Okay. So for example, if we are going to take the example of this electron which is moving around the nucleus in E2, so the energy of this electron will be equal to E2. Similarly here E3 and so on. Okay. So this point we need to remember. Now the next point according to Neil Bohr's theory is what? As we are going to move away from the nucleus, see here, as we are going to move away from the nucleus, these energy levels, okay, if you are going to compare the energies of these energy levels, then the relation will be like this. So E3 will be greater than E2, it will be greater than E1. So you will find that as we are moving far from the nucleus, each energy level, their energy will goes on increasing. Okay, their energy level will goes on increasing. So remember here, don't get confused because another concept we are going to see here. E1 is the energy of first orbit, E2 is the energy of second orbit, whereas E3 is the energy of third orbit. Okay, and if you are going to see here, the relation is what? As we are moving away from this nucleus, the energies which are related with each orbit, they are going to increase. So we will find that E3 will be greater than E2 and it will be greater than E1. Okay, so this relation just keep in mind. Now the another concept is what? Each electron, see here, each electron is bonded with this nucleus. Okay, each electron is bonded with the nucleus with the help of bonding energy. Okay, with the help of bonding energy. So each electron is tied with the nucleus, and remember one more point, the number of electrons is always equal to the number of protons. Okay, so the effective charge of an isolated atom means what? When you are going to consider a single atom, the total energy or total charge present on that atom will be what? It is 0 because the number of electrons will be equal to number of protons. So this negative energy or charge is going to cancel the effect of positive charge. So each isolated atom is treated as neutral in nature. These are not carrying any type of charge. Okay, because these two particles are cancelling their effect. Now what we are seeing here, that each electron is bonded with nucleus. Each electron is, for example, this electron is bonded with the nucleus. Again, this electron is also bonded with the nucleus, whereas this electron is also bonded with the nucleus. Suppose that bonding energy we are going to denote as E1, E2 and E3. Okay. So now this small e is representing the bonding energy with the nucleus, and this capital E is representing what? The energy of that orbit itself. Okay. So don't get confused here. So another point according to the Neil Bohr's theory we should remember is that as we are going to move away from the nucleus, this bonding energy will goes on decreasing. Means what? Even what you can say that E3, suppose E3 will be less than E2 and E2 is less than E1. So in this case E1 will be greater. This bonding energy with the first electron which is moving around the nucleus in the first orbit, this bonding energy will be greater than E2 and E2 will be greater than E3. Because in this case, when we are going away from the nucleus, you will find that the bonding energy will start to decrease. Bonding energy will start to decrease. So, whenever that atom is going to participate in any reaction, you will find that if you are going to provide the small energy, then it is possible for us to detach the electron from the outermost orbit, because the bonding energy with the nucleus will be less here. So, if equal to E3, if you are going to provide the energy equal to E3 externally, then it is possible for us to detach the electron present in the valence band, or you can say that valence orbit. So valence orbit is nothing but what? Where the outermost electrons are present. So that orbit or that energy level is called as what? Valence orbit or valence energy level. So it is possible for us to detach the electrons which are present in outermost orbit in some case of materials, right? Not in all cases, but in some cases we can say that it is possible, practically possible to detach the electrons from outermost orbit. Okay. So what we should remember according to the Neil-Bohr's theorem, each atom is made up of the different particles. At the center the nucleus is present, and inside the nucleus positively charged particles are there which are called as protons, and as well as it also consisting of the particles which are neutral in nature, so those are called as what? Neutrons. Around this nucleus, in certain energy levels or in certain orbits, the negatively charged particles are revolving, which are called as electrons. So electrons are carrying negative charge. The number of electrons is always equal to number of protons. So in case of an isolated atom, we can say that an isolated atom is neutral in nature because the positive charge is cancelled by negative charge or vice versa. Then what we have seen, each orbit which is around the nucleus is there, those are having their certain energies. Okay, so these energies we are going to denote as E1, E2 and E3. And what we have seen, as we are moving away from the nucleus, the energies of those energy levels or orbits is going on increasing. So in this case, E3 will be greater than E2 and E2 will be greater than E1. And what is the another terminology we need to understand in this case? Each electron which is revolving in these orbits is bonded with the nucleus, and that energy called as what? Bonding energy. And here in this case we have denoted that energy with small e. So you will find that the electron which is revolving in the first orbit is bonded with the nucleus with energy E1. The electron in second orbit is bonded with nucleus with energy E2, and if we assume that electron which is revolving in the third orbit is bonded with the nucleus with the energy E3, then in this case, as the distance is going on, as the electron is moving away from the nucleus, you will find that the energy goes on decreasing. So in this case, E3 will be lesser than E2 and E2 is less than E1. So more close, the electron which is more close to the nucleus, it's tightly bonded with the nucleus, and the electrons which are present away from the nucleus, those are loosely bonded. So with some chemical reactions or by providing some external energy, it is possible for us to detach some of the electrons, and when those electrons are detached from this outermost orbit, those electrons, suppose if it is possible for us to detach this electron from this orbit, then this electron called as free electron. This electron is called as free electron, and now this free electrons, which is having a very much importance in case of electronics or electrical, you will find that this free electron is going to participate in the current conduction. Okay, so that concept we are going to discuss in the next video. So in this video, just remember about the Neil-Bohr's theory for atomic structure. Okay, thank you.